Okay, today we are going to work on Maven project, but apart from working on the Maven project, we are going to discuss about very important concept that is going to contain the entire Sprint 4. It will be your ORM, that is Object Relational Mapping. And while talking about the Object Relational Mapping, I have to discuss about JPA, that is referred as Java Persistence API. So first of all, screen is properly visible to you all. And because screen is properly visible to you all, so definitely if I am talking about the agenda, then into the agenda, few pointers will be good to add. First of all, everyone, I'm going to discuss to you about the term that is called JPA Hibernate. And while discussing about the JPA Hibernate, I will discuss to you about the shortcoming of the JDBC also. These are the main agenda, and definitely in the JPA Hibernate, we will talk about a simple. First of all, definitely we will talk about introduction. Apart from talking about the introduction, then we will perform a simple CRUD operations also. We will do this. So let us start the session without wasting the time. See, JDBC assignment, at least 1 to 2 assignment everybody has done. Can I expect this? At least 1 to 2 assignment everybody has done. That's good. So let me take a very simple case. Let me take a very simple case. In the today's class, we will actually study the ORM and we will do comparison of the JDBC also. So definitely all these three pointers, they will run into the mix-up. They will run into the mix-up, and don't worry, at the end of the session, you will possibly feel very good that yes, it's very good. It is life-saving kind of thought you will find in your mind. Don't worry. So first of all, everybody, let me take a very simple example. The simple example is that let's say that I wanted to create a JDBC application to perform CRUD operation on a table. You know it very well. C is for create operation, that actually refer to insert query. R refer to read operation, that actually refer to the select query. U actually refer to the update operation, and D actually refer to the delete operation. This thing is something that you know it very well. So for example, let's say that initially I'm going to write down the code to perform the insert operation is there. So if I wanted to perform the insert operation, then definitely some steps that I need to follow. Step number 1, definitely I have to load JDBC driver class. And whenever I am loading the JDBC driver class, then definitely I have to handle a checked exception. The name of the checked exception is called class not found exception. Thereafter, if I'm going by the DAO pattern, then in case of the DAO pattern, definitely I have to create a properties file. And specifically, if I'm talking about the properties file, so definitely for normal project, if I'm talking about the location of the properties file, then definitely for normal project, property file must be in the SRC folder. This is the point number 1. The property file must be within the SRC folder. Thereafter, everyone, if I'm talking about the step 3.2, into the step number 3.2, if I'm talking about the Maven project, then for the Maven project, it should be available within the src/main/resources package, resources folder. Then you have to place the property file here, or it will be good to say that property file must be in the src/main/resources folder. This is what you are doing. Then definitely what you are doing, step number 4, you are actually writing code to read properties file using resource bundle. And in the resource bundle, practically you do not have to or it will be good to write down step number 4.1, that no need to handle any exception practically, because it actually throws unchecked exceptions only. Is that clear? That it is throwing unchecked exception only. Okay. Then going to the step number 5. So while talking about the Step number 5. Now you wanted to create connection. Definitely, you need to create connection by calling the driver manager dot get connection method. And definitely while writing this thing, you have to pass the URL. After passing the URL, there is username available, then there is password available. Then here again, if I'm talking about the type of exception that actually you are going to handle, then compulsorily you are going to handle one type of exception. And this exception is actually referred as the SQL exception. So while performing the JDBC, you are handling SQL exception. Okay. Next case, next case, next case. Because you are doing the insert operation, so definitely you are going to take input from user. Okay. After taking input from user, you have to fill all the data in the DTO class. Okay. After filling all the data into the DTO class, then definitely you need to create an object of DAO class, and then you need to call the suitable. Then you need to call the whatever be the respective method or whatever be the associated method is, or whatever be the corresponding method, and call the method to insert. It will be good to say call the method to insert. And if I'm talking about the insert operation, then definitely, first of all, you have to create the prepared statement object. You have to create prepared statement object. And when you are actually creating the prepared statement object, then definitely again, you have to handle SQL exception. Getting my point? Okay. You have to handle SQL exception. Step number 12, you are going to stuff the data in the query. While you are going to stuff the data in the query using setString etc. method, again, can I say you have to handle SQL exception? Yes, because actually this method is also there that require SQL exception to get handled. Thereafter, let's say that you are calling the execute update method. Let's say that you are calling the execute update method. So when you are calling the execute update method, again there is a need to handle SQL exception. Yes sir, again there is need to handle the SQL exception. Then definitely you need to print the whatever be your success or whatever be your failure message is. After writing this part, then going to the step number 17, and while going to the step number 17, I would love to say that success failure message is printed, and definitely finally I have to close the connection, and while closing the connection, again I have to handle the exception. Yes or no? All that thing you are doing. So first of all, everyone, see, into the JDBC, you have to handle a lot of exception. Agree with my point? Or you have to handle the same exception a lot of time? Yes, it is. Second thing, if I'm talking about the DTO class, then in case of the DTO class, actually you are trying to create a Java class that is corresponding to a database table. Yes or no? Yes, simple logic. If I'm talking about the DTO, then definitely DTO is a, you can say that DTO is a POJO class. What is the meaning of POJO class? POJO actually refer to plain old Java object. POJO actually refer to plain old Java object. So DTO is a POJO class that is for the, that is actually, you can say that is a mapping of database table in Java code. Okay, this is the one thing available. Similarly, everyone, let's say that if I'm talking about the next operation, such that the next operation is actually select operation. So into the select operation, specifically, if I'm talking about the initial code, then this initial code is step number 1 and onwards, step number 6. This is common. You have to do the same job again and again. There is no other option because once the connection is closed, then you have to open the connection again. Okay. JDBC driver class is the only thing that you have loaded once, then no need to load, but rest of the everything you have to do every time. Rest everything you have to do for every time. So let's say that property file SQL exception is done because you are going to perform bare read operation. So possibly that you are not going to take input. But everyone, then if I'm talking about the prepared statement, handling the object, definitely this is required. And next time you are going to call the method, the name of the method is going to be execute query method. 7 number, create prepared statement object, then handle exception. Then 9 number, let's say that stuffing data is, let's say, not required. Let's say not required. Then definitely step number 9, you have to call the execute query method. And if I'm talking about the execute query method, then definitely the return type of the execute query method is going to be result set. While calling the execute query method, again, you have to handle the exception. Then everyone, what you are doing, then you are checking whether the result set is empty or not. You are checking whether the result set is empty. And definitely if your result set is empty, then again you have to handle exception. Yes or no? Yes, it is. And then what you need to do, definitely step number 13, you have to convert the result set into list of DTO objects, or you have to convert the same thing into a single DTO object. Yes or no? Yes, it is. Thereafter, again, definitely once the list is returned, then again you have to close the correction. Again, you have to handle the exception. Clear, everybody? Yes, it is. So practically, if I'm talking about JDBC code, first of all, definitely when you are writing the JDBC code, then don't you think that lot of code is getting duplicated? It's a kind of boilerplate code with the DAO pattern, yet we are trying to reduce the duplicacy, but we are just reducing, we are not eliminating. Complete elimination is practically kind of not possible. But don't you think that still, despite of many efforts, there is lot of duplicacy? Yes or no? Yes, it is. Second thing, if I'm talking about the burden that is related to handling the exceptions, don't you think again it is so much that we have to every time write down the code to handle the SQL exception, or we have to rethrow the same exception again? So a lot of try catches are also there. Agree, everybody? So if I'm talking about some of the problems that I am listing out. So the first problem is that we are having lot of boilerplate code is here. Second thing, definitely, if I'm talking about the code, then definitely code is, or you can say that lot of code is required to handle the exceptions. And why actually we need to write down lot of code? Because it is used to throw the checked exception. Because actually it throws the checked exception. Okay, this point is also done. So initially, if I'm talking about the well, coming back. So these are the two things that actually we have already seen. First drawback is that there is a lot of boilerplate code, and second code is that there is a lot of code to handle the exceptions. Okay. Then everyone, one more thing. Now try to understand. I'm talking about select operation only for one time. But just assume, let's say that I'm having one table student, I'm having one table mark sheet, and I'm having one table account. So three tables are there, and definitely I need to fetch the data from all the three tables. So don't you think that the part where we are checking the result set is empty or not, handling the exception, then definitely converting the result set into the list of objects or DTO object. This same thing for the three tables I have to write down for the three times. Yes or no? Let's say that if I'm having 10 tables, then definitely this is step number 11, 12, and 13 I have to write down for the 10 times. So again, this is a boilerplate code. And in the industry, or practically if I'm talking about the real life applications, then in the real life application, let's say that we are having 800 tables. So would you love to copy paste the same code for the 800 times, then changing the class name and getting some properties? Anybody here who is interested to do this? Nobody? No matter whether even you are creating a method, still you have to write down the code. So boilerplate code is one problem. Lot of exceptions are there. This is also one problem. Second thing, if I'm talking about this type of code, so what I was telling you, that's into the JDBC, whenever we are writing the code, then code length of the code is unreasonably high. This is also we can say, if I'm talking about the length of the code, then definitely the length of the code becomes unreasonably high. length of the code become unreasonably high. Apart from this, everybody, this time, don't you think that practically we are trying to establish a relationship between database table and Java class using DTO, but at the ground level or at the computer level or at the Java level, if I'm talking about the relationship between DTO and database table, then from machine's perspective, there is nothing. Yes or no? Let me take a simple analogy. For example, let's say that I'm having one table. The name of the table, let's say again, I'm calling name of the table is category table. Into the category table, I am writing cat underscore ID. This is integer. And again, we are saying that this is turning into a primary key. This is my point number 1. Then I'm talking about the next column. This is cat underscore name. I'm writing here varchar, and definitely size, let's say that I'm writing it is 20. If I'm going to write down the create table query, then definitely to write down the create table query, I have to write down create table category. Then I have to write down one thing here, that is category ID, integer and primary key. This is the thing that I'm writing. Let's say there is one more table available. The name of the table is called product table. Into the product table, let's say I'm having product ID, then definitely I'm having product underscore name. Do not want it to go into much of the detail. Thereafter, I am writing cat underscore ID integer is what exactly I am writing. So listen, simple point that actually I wanted to say you. So here I am writing create table. What is the name of the table? Name of the table is called product. Because name of the table is product, so one thing that we are writing is product ID integer primary key. Then we are writing here that is product name varchar and 20. Thereafter, let's say what exactly thing I am doing. I am writing category ID comma integer, but I am not making it a foreign key. I am not enforcing foreign key constraint. So this time you are saying, you may assume that, sir, okay, if we are not enforcing the foreign key constraint, still we can establish the relationship, still we can apply join, no problem. Yes or no? Simple. You can apply join on any two columns that are having the same data type. They must not require to be of the foreign key, but it's a de facto standard that they used to be foreign key. But this time you can do all the operations that you are doing with the foreign key, but can you compare this approach with foreign key? Don't you think this is unsafe operation? Because your machine actually does not have any knowledge which column is foreign key, which column is primary key. So all responsibility is of the programmer to manage everything. Your database says, I don't know anything. Getting my point? Everybody comfortable? Write one on chat if everything is okay. That's good. That's good. That's good. Then everyone, if I'm talking about the relationship between DTO and the relationship between database table, so don't you think that is also in the same state? We are managing everything, but machine does not have any knowledge whether there is a relationship between Java class or a database table. Yes or no? Now this analogy clear? Why I have given you this example? You can do things in unconventional way. You can do the things in incorrect way also, but it doesn't mean that they are equivalent to the correct way. There will be some losses. There will be some losses. So the thing that I wanted to say is, if I'm talking about the Java class and if I'm talking about the database table, then their relationship or their mapping is the complete responsibility of the programmer. There is no support from the systems side. Getting my point? So what I was telling you there is that the relation, or you can say that mapping between the DTO and MySQL table has to be developed by the user, and there is no mapping, or there is, you can say that no support from system, no support from system. So this is what actually one analogy that I have given you. These notes will be shared to you. So one part is this one. So overall the thing is that everybody, so far when we are going through the JDBC, then we have come across many different shortcomings of the JDBC. See, some more pointers that I am talking to you. As you can see into the PPT, simple. The process of saving or storing the Java object state into the database software is known as Java persistence. Java persistence is of two types. The first type of persistence is referred as IO stream based persistence logic. Second thing is JDBC based persistence logic. So IO stream based persistence logic. Did you remember your J111 project? Everything we used to write down into the file. Your file was acting like a database. So this is what actually input output stream based persistence logic. This is input output stream based persistence logic. Then everyone, next thing. Next thing. If I'm talking about the JDBC operation, then for the JDBC operation, can I say that this is actually example of database level persistence logic? Yes, it is. Let me come to some limitations. First of all, can't store the Java object into the table directly. Why? Because if the DTO object is available to you, still you have to create a prepared statement. And after creating the prepared statement, you have to stuff all the data from DTO. And after stuffing all the data from DTO, then you have to write down the logic. So practically, this is the same thing that we were discussing. That's why there is no relation between the database table and DTO. Everything has to be managed by the programmer manually. Yes or no? Point is clear? Yes, it is. Second thing, actually it uses database software dependent queries. Yes, this is. For example, everyone, let me talk about some of the functions to you, or let me write down one query to you. For example, everyone, let's say I am writing select distinct, and after distinct bracket open, let's say that I am writing EMP ID, and after the EMP ID, then I am writing here EMP name from. Let's say there is a table available employee. What do you think? This query is correct? What do you think? This query is correct? The answer is yes, no, mix up. So if I'm talking about this query, if you try to execute this query on MySQL, then this query is incorrect. You cannot write down bracket for more than one column with distinct clause. But the same query, if I wanted to execute on the Oracle platform, then the answer is yes. In JDBC, practically you are writing the query manually. So can I say that there are still lot of chances are there that you may end up with writing a query that is database specific? Yes or no? Yes, it is. That's good. Similarly, for example, let's say, let me write down the query. The query that I'm writing is, for example, let's say Masai. Then I'm writing OR operator. After writing the OR operator, then I'm writing here space, then OR operator. And thereafter, I'm writing here school. SCHOOL from. There is a dummy table available. Name of the table is called dual. The same query you are going to execute in the MySQL. On the MySQL, this query is incorrect, but on the Oracle, this query is okay. And if I'm talking about the output of this query, then output of this query is going to be Masai space school. Similarly, if I'm talking about the database functions, then database functions are also different from database to database. So in this condition, don't you think that if I'm talking about the portability issue, then definitely portability issue still exists in case of JDBC, because we are writing system specific query, or we are writing query for a specific database. Clear my point? Because nobody is going to generate query for you. You have to write down the query at your own. And whenever you are writing query at your own, then chances are there that you may end up with writing a database specific query that in future may create problem when you are porting your database from one system to another system. So simply can I say that Java application and the database system, they are tightly coupled? Yes or no? Yes, it is. So simple logic I am writing that there is a tight coupling. Let me write down this point number 5. The point number 5 is that there is a tight coupling between Java application and database management system, or it will be good to write down that specific management system, because you have to write queries manually such that one query that works on MySQL may not work on Oracle, and vice versa. This is again one thing available. Example I have already integrated for you. Some query that is okay. Then lot of boilerplate code already covered. Throws a lot of checked exception. already covered, so you have to write down the code every time. Third thing, the read operation returns actually a result set whose structure is required to be known in advance to fetch the information. So right now you may say that, sir, this kind of problem we haven't faced. But in JDBC, do we have covered any join operation? In JDBC, do we have taken any example of the join operation? No. Okay. So because there is no example of the join operation, so always actually you are using select star query, because almost we are using select star query. Table structure is already known. That's good. But on the other hand, just try to understand the next case. For example, let's say that I am a JDBC application writer. I am a JDBC application writer, and along with me, I am having one more JDBC application writer. Let's say that the name is Ruparam. So just try to understand the scenario. We are having a fleet of JDBC developers. Among the fleet of JDBC developer, one developer is available Kapil, and one developer is available. The name of the developer is, let's say, Ruparam. So try to understand. For example, let's say that Kapil is calling one function that is written by Ruparam, and this function is returning a result set. Situation is that Kapil is calling a method that is written by Ruparam, and this method actually returns a result set. Result set is available to me. First question, do the result set have any fixed structure, that it is going to have only 2 variables, or it is going to have only 3 variables, or practically it is very flexible, it can have any number of variables or any number of columns? Yes or no? So because the result set can have any number of columns, so let's say that Kapil wanted to operate on this result set, then definitely Kapil must be aware about what is the first column, what is its data type, what is second column, what is its data type, what is third column, what is its data type? Yes or no? Yes, it is. So Kapil is calling a method that is actually written by Ruparam that returns a result set. So definitely Kapil must have KNOW must have knowledge about the exact structure of the result set. So don't you think this is again a problematic area slightly, because there is no fixed structure available? And ultimately what you are going to do, your result set ultimately going to be converted into Bojo, that is plain old Java object. So everything has to be done manually. So in this approach, if you are using only JDBC to develop a large enterprise application, then don't you think that your life will not be easy? You have to suffer from a lot of drawbacks. Yes or no? Clear, everyone? So this is the 6th number point. The 6th number point actually says that the read operation actually returns the result set whose structure is required to be known in advance to fetch the information. Okay, this part is also done. Now let me talk about 7th part. Next part. Let's say that I have written a query, select star from employee, and assume this information is displayed on a web page. This information is displayed on a web page, or simple, I am saying that there is a web page available such that this web page is displaying list of all the employees. When this is displaying list of all the employees, so definitely from the database it is going to perform the query, that is select star from employee. Yes or no? Yes, it is. Now what happened? One user who is slightly feeling bored and he wanted to experiment the system. What he is doing? Same page he is refreshing for 10 times in a minute, and the same job he is doing for next 20 minutes. Do some calculation, please. The same page, one user is actually refreshing for 10 times in a minute, and when he is fetching the information 10 times in a minute, and he is doing the same job for next 20 minutes. So for the user, there is nothing special, but don't you think that you are unnecessarily suing your database? You are unnecessarily harassing your database. Same query is going to fire for 200 times on the database. Is it reasonable? No? Okay. All of you are using web browsers? Yes or no? All of you are using web browsers? Yes, it is. So if you are using web browsers, then you might have noticed this behavior multiple times. Whenever a page is loaded for the first time, then it is taking longer. But if you refresh the same page after a few seconds, then the page is getting downloaded so fast. Observed? Yes, it is. And why this is happening? This is happening with the help of cache memory. So what exactly your browser is used to do? Whatever be your most recently visit pages are there, the browser is used to keep the copy of these pages into the cache memory. The only drawback is that you may get the old data, but overall the thing is that your performance is getting better. Yes or no? Right, it is. So if I'm talking about the select star query, then in case of select star query, if we are having a caching mechanism, then definitely we can save ourselves from such kind of mad users. Yes or no? Yes, it is. So in JDBC, have you seen any kind of caching mechanism? Absolutely no. Absolutely no. So there is no support for caching mechanism in JDBC, but ORM actually provide you support for the caching mechanism. Getting my point? So all these disadvantages clear to you? Everyone, all this thing clear to you? So this content is displayed on web page and a user refreshes the web page 10 times in a minute for 20 minutes. So 200 times the same query will be executed. So if I'm talking about the solution, then definitely solution of the same problem is caching. Solution of the same problem is caching. So everyone, all the drawbacks of JDBC we have covered here. And if I'm talking about the solution of all these, then the solution of all these things is ORM. The solution of all these things is ORM. That is object relational mapping. That is what exactly we have discussed so far. So if I'm talking about the object relational mapping, then in case of object relational mapping, see, object relational mapping is very fine thing. It says that your Java class will be equivalent to your database table, and your ORM software is going to take care for the relationship between Java class and the database table. So last time we were having drawback that DTO and Java class, they are mapped by programmer completely. There was no support from the system. But this time, can you see that ORM system is going to provide you support that your Java class will be equivalent to one database table. Getting my point? Second pointer, if I'm talking about the member of a class, means variable of a class. One variable of a class will be equivalent to one column of the table. Now this is more clear. One variable of a class is equivalent to one variable of the table, one column of the table. Third thing, object of the Java class is equivalent to database table record. So for example, let's say that if I'm creating one object, that object will automatically be saved into the database. If I'm creating second object, it will automatically be saved into the database. If I'm making changes into the object, so object is directly synchronized with the database. So whenever I am making changes in the object, your corresponding database record will be updated automatically. Getting my point? So ORM is providing support for all that JDBC was not having. Clear everybody? This is what actually referred as ORM. So let us take a very, very simple example that is available on this PPT. On this PPT, everybody, can you see that there is a class available student, such that into the class student, there is one variable available of integer type, one variable available of string type, and one variable is available of integer marks type. So you can see that when I am going to compile this code, when I am going to run this code, then for this class structure, automatically one table will be created. In this table, I will have name of the table, same as class name. So definitely name of the table will be student. Second thing, if I'm talking about the first column will be roll number automatically. Its type will be string. Then if I'm talking about the second column name, the second column name will automatically map to varchar data type. And one thing that you should keep into mind that whenever you are specifying the string data type, then the string data type is automatically converted into varchar with the size of 255. Please take a look at the chat message. Clear everybody? So table will be generated role. It will be simple integer value. Second is going to be string name. It will be varchar 255. Next is going to be marks. It will be going to be of the integer type. So this time, can you say that your DTO is replaced with something else that is connected to database? Yes or no? And the new name of such class is called entity. The new name of such class is called entity. Simple, see, just actually one liner difference that I'm telling you. Whenever I'm talking about DTO, so DTO is a class that is equivalent to database table, but there is no relationship between the database table and the DTO object. Getting my point? Second point, you should also listen. Then we will talk about the same topic in the detail. If I'm talking about a simple DTO class, then don't you think that DTO class is a simple Java class? And to compile this Java class, there is no additional jar file required. Simple logic. But on the other hand, everybody, when I'm talking about this class, this is not complete code. This is an indicative code. This code or this class is referred as the entity class, such that the entity class is directly related to your database table. And to create such kind of classes, you have to use some annotations. And for these annotations, you have to attach an external library. So can I say that for compilation of Pojo, no external library is required, but for the compilation of entity class, external library is required. Can I say this thing? Simple pointers, all these are available, don't worry. All these are available, don't worry. So you can see that object into the memory, then mapping logic is there, and the mapping logic is actually kind of middleman between your objects in memory as well as in your database. Clear everybody? How this is going to make our life easy? Yes, it is. That's good. That's good. That's good. So there are actually few terms available that I am going to discuss to you, and these terms are closely related to one another. One thing is ORM, one thing is JPA, and one thing that we are going to discuss is Hibernate. We are going to discuss these all the three terms, don't worry. So first of all, everyone, by looking at this example, can I say that ORM software is a kind of middleman between entity class and database management system? The ORM software is kind of middleman between objects and the database classes. Yes or no? Yes, it is. That's good. That's good. That's good. So listen, see the last line. The logic that we write to store the Java object into the DB using ORM approach is called ORM based persistence logic. So this is new term available for you. So far, we had discussion about two different persistence logic. The very first type of persistence logic is input-output based persistence logic. Second type of persistence logic is Java-based persistence logic. And the third type of persistence logic is ORM-based persistence logic. Is that clear? Yes, it is. That's good. That's good. That's good. So far, lot of discussion we have done. Some popular ORM frameworks are there. Hibernate is there. Toplink is there. Hibernate is there. Apart from the Hibernate, Eclipse Links is also there. But actually, we are going to use Hibernate this time. This is the most popular thing that we are going to do. Now next pointer. Now the next pointer. See. Initially, some of the pointers that we have discussed, this is something that is done for you. Two types of persistence logics are there. Both types of persistence logics are already told to you. So, well, if you have gone through the PPT already, then definitely things are very easier for you. But I don't know that how many percentage of scholars are there who are doing this. Regarding the ORM, apart from this, we have seen one more thing. The thing is called Java class equal to database table, object, etc. It will be good to take this example also, so that everything will be collected on a single place. And thereafter, I'm talking about this class. And if I'm talking about the equivalent table generated, then definitely equivalent table generated will be this one. So far, lot of discussion we have done. Now, actually, for today, I have some scholars and I'm going to ask some random questions to you. This is one exercise that actually we used to do in the earlier blocks, but in this block, this did not happen even for a single time. So randomly, I am unmuting some scholars. First caller, Kuldeep Kumar Mehto. Am I audible to you properly? You are requested to unmute. Kuldeep, you are unmuted now. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes. Hello. Hello, sir.
Okay. Everyone, is it audible? That is caller.
Hello, sir.
Update on chat.
Hello, sir.
Less audible. Low volume, less audible. Audio is actually very low. The same thing I am facing on my side also.
Hello, sir.
Audio is very low actually. On my side, it is 100% volume. Still, audio is very low.
Hello, sir.
Speak something. Hello, 1 2 3 kind of thing. Not audible. Almost not audible now. Well, next caller, Mohammed Nawaz. Please unmute, Mohammed Nawaz. No reply. Mohammed Nawaz, please unmute. Are you available there, Nawaz? Or shall I remove you from the meeting? Neither any reply on chat nor reply on audio. Satyanand Srivastav.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Yes, Satyanand, your voice signals are okay.
Yes, sir.
Your voice signals are okay. Okay. So Satyanand, would you love to tell me slightly about caching? Recently we have discussed.
Yes, sir.
What it is?
As when you web page load in my web page, then cache memory store the data of the database.
Cache memory store the data of the database.
Yes, sir. For the refreshing, if you are refresh, then for the few second we can store the data.
Actually, caching is a way to store whatever data you have previously fetched. In
Yes,
case of web browser, it is actually containing the page data. In the case of database level, it is used to contain the data that you have recently fetched via the select query. Okay,
yes.
well, that's good. That's good. Then everyone, next caller, let's say Yogesh. Yogesh, am I audible? Please unmute. No reply. Yogesh, please unmute. Well, not a good thing. Not a good thing. Ridikesh, Ridikesh, please unmute.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ridikesh. Okay. Ridikesh, so far in the discussion, we have discussed so much limitations of the JDBC. Can you name any three according to your choice? Any three?
Uh,
Any
sorry,
three limitations of JDBC? No?
sorry, sir.
Sanjay Kumar, unmute yourself.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Sanjay, what is the meaning of boilerplate code?
It is used to
No?
not mounting, sir.
We are using the term boilerplate code again and again. What is the meaning of a boilerplate code is?
It is a predefined code inside of other code. We will use it is a predefined code, and we will use to easy our work.
Predefined code. So boilerplate code is a good thing.
No, sir, it's not a good thing.
So, well, okay, everyone. Not going to waste so much amount of time, but one announcement from my side to you. Those who are not unmuting in the class despite of announcing the name. This is day number 1. I am not taking any action, but if this practice continue on the Tuesday, you will directly be removed from the meeting. Keep in mind. If instructor is asking you to do something, you have to follow. If it is online class, it doesn't mean that you are going to take advantage of the situation on the name of technical glitches. This is my stern warning to you, and strictly I can do this. I am having complete authority. If instructor is asking you to unmute, then you have to. Keep in mind, you are scholars, you have to follow the instructions. So, well, going to continue further. Let me drink some water. Yes, all. So regarding the ORM, some discussion is already done. 3 types of approaches we have gone through. Popular ORM framework is something that we were talking also. Now let me talk about the ORM features. So just actually go. Just a second. First thing, database independent. Now see, actually your ORM is a kind of middleman such that whatever be your database table and whatever be your Java classes there, the interaction between both is controlled by the ORM software. And your ORM software is actually very smart. It says, hey user, do not write down any query. I will generate queries for you. So because ORM is a software, it is very smart. So let's say that if you are using Oracle database, then your ORM will generate the query according to Oracle. If you are using MySQL database, then it will generate the query in MySQL format. If you are using Postgre database, then it will generate the query in Postgre format. So simple logic here, you just try to understand. Don't you think that it is very convenient? Because we are not writing the query is being generated by ORM. In future, if you are porting your database, you do not have to take care about the query because you have not written even a single query. Getting my point? At every execution, ORM will generate the query for you. So even if you port your database, no problem. Your ORM, once it was generating query for Oracle, now it will generate query for MySQL. In future, it will generate the query for Postgre. So don't you think that it is savior for you? Those who don't know, left join, right join, subquery, etc., etc. Of course, yes. Of course, yes. So simple point is that everybody, if I'm talking about the advantage of ORM, then the advantages of ORM is that actually it always generates the query by itself. So user need not to write even a single query. User need to write even a single query. So if database is ported, or you can say that if project is ported from one machine to, or you can say that from one DBMS to another DBMS, then no issue. ORM will generate the query according to new DBMS. And one more advantage, that is unofficial advantage. The unofficial advantage is that the developers who don't know SQL well, they can also work on project. Can I say this is the most preferred advantage in the brackets? 100%. Most important? Yes. But keep in mind, actually, such kind of developer, they are forced to stay in a single company for a very long time, no matter whether they are getting appraisals or not, no matter whether they are getting promotions or not. So from this line, I think you are getting my point, that this advantage is practically not a very good advantage. This is advantage in the terms of productions, but this is disadvantage in the terms of career. If you are not comfortable with SQL. Well, next thing. It can persist, store Java object to database directly, support POJO and POJI model. So just try to understand. See, last time when I was talking to you about this class, then I was telling you that this class is a entity class. Yes, it is. So for example, let's say that I am creating object of the entity class. Into the entity class, roll number is 1. Name, for example, let's say I am writing ABC, and marks, for example, I am writing 56.25. This is what exactly object I am creating. Then actually I have to call one method that is called persist method. Into the persist method, I have to pass this st. Actually, it will automatically perform insert operation for you. So can you see that actually there is no need to write down any SQL query? Yes or no? We will take example also. Here I am writing in the terms of pseudocode only. Persist is a method available that allow you to insert the record into the table. Similarly, everybody, if you wanted to perform the delete operation, then for the delete operation, there is a query available. There is a method available. The name of the method is called remove method. It will perform the delete operation. For the update operation, there is a separate thing that we will discuss. But if you wanted to fetch a record, then to fetch a record. For example, let's say that I wanted to fetch the record of the scholar whose roll number is 1. And then I'm writing here student.class. What actually it will do? It will actually perform select operation, and this will not return you a result set. This time you are not going to find any result set, which is a good news for you, but it will provide you entity object. So don't you think there is no need to perform conversion of result set to DTO? Take a look, line number 125. Amazing. Life is easy. Yes or no? Yes. To the ORM, you have to provide object. ORM will do insert, update, delete operation. From the ORM, you are going to get object. Every conversion of the result set to object or object to result set, it will be done by ORM itself. Filling into the prepared statement, generating the query, everything will be done by ORM for you. Getting everybody? So with the ORM, you can develop the same application within 30 minutes. That actually takes 2.5 hours in JDBC. So in the terms of production, this is something you can say that exceptional. Exceptional. So simple logic. It can persist. This is also done. Third thing is that it saves the developer from boilerplate code. So can I say no need to copy paste the unnecessary create connection, thereafter prepared a statement, thereafter stuffing the data, thereafter getting the results set, thereafter actually converting to DTO, then closing the connection. No need to write down everything. Just into the 3 or 4 lines, your code is done. So boilerplate code is not there. POJO actually stands for plain old Java object. POJI actually stands for plain old Java interface. These are the two things that we are having. One thing, ORM is actually, you can say that whenever you wanted to run an ORM application, no need to install any Tomcat, etc. You can attach directly it to core Java like you were attaching the MySQL connector file. Getting everybody? No need to perform any separate installation. Just a jar file is available. Attach this jar file to your project and your ORM is ready to use, like we have used for the MySQL connector. Second thing, it provides actually the connection mechanism system. So caching mechanism system. What is the meaning of caching mechanism? Just try to understand how exactly things are going. Let's say that right now you are firing query to get the student whose roll number is 1. Internally, the query will be converted as select star from student where roll number equal to 1. Getting my point? Internally, this method will fire the query select star from student where roll number equal to 1. This record is fetch. Now this time your Hibernate will play a trick. This record it will provide to Java application and it will keep copy of this record into its own memory that is called cache memory. Immediately if somebody is demanding the same record, then this time database will not be hit directly. Actually record from the cache memory will be provided to you. And the good thing is that cache memory and database, it is in the synchronization and the synchronization is maintained by ORM. So there is no risk of obsolete data. Getting my point? So the advantage is that definitely the caching is also supported. Caching is also supported and everything is maintained by itself. You are actually very much kind of Jamai. Use the facilities, enjoy the life. You have to do nothing. ORM is there to maintain everything for you. So this is the next thing available. Next pointer is available. That is actually called provide implicit connection pooling. What is the mean of implicit connection pooling is C. In case of JDBC, we have to create connection, then we have to close connection. For the next operation, we have to open the connection, we have to close connection. For next thing, you have to open the connection, you have to close connection. But your Hibernate is slightly smarter. How the Hibernate is slightly smarter? It says that let's say that to a single database, I am having 4 or 5 different connection objects. I am having 4 or 5 different connection objects. Whatever connection object is available, that connection object will be used to perform your query. Isn't it very much like if I'm talking about the cricket team, BCCI, Indian cricket team, they are having a pool of players. In the pool of players, there are in every pool, grade A, grade B, grade C, grade D, they are having completely 25 to 30 players. And out of the 25 to 30 players, based on the demand, they used to actually set up the team. Getting my point? Same thing is here. It is having a team of connection object, whichever is suitable, whichever is available, it will be used there. Yes or no? Yes, it is. That's good. That's good. That's good. Somebody is unmute. Somebody is unmute. Now, next point. Whatever be the security mechanism, you do not have to consider. ORM is going to take care for this. All the security related thing, ORM is going to take care for you. Don't worry. Third thing, everybody, the good thing is that all the exceptions that it throws are unchecked exception. And definitely whenever there is an unchecked exception, so if you are handling, then it is okay. If you are not handling, then still it is okay. So can we say that there is no need to handle unnecessary so much amount of exceptions? Yes or no? That's great. It has a special query language that is called JPQL that is completely depending upon the object. See, right now when I was writing the query, right now, if I'm talking about the query, see, Earlier, what is our practice? Earlier, what is our practice? Pay attention very, very carefully. Here, everyone, if I'm talking about the name of the table is student. Yes, it is. Now I'm writing two queries in front of you. One query that I'm writing is select star from student. Second query I'm writing is select S from student S. Can you see that first time here? I'm writing the query in plain SQL format. I'm writing query in plain SQL format. But second time, everybody, especially pay attention to the cases. Can you see this time I am not writing the table name exactly, but practically I am writing name of the entity class. Yes or no? Observe this thing very, very carefully. Observe this thing very, very carefully. We will take example not today, but possibly on Tuesday. I will talk about JPQL also. I am giving you just actually an inciting. So here you can see that there is a student available such that I am writing the second query with reference to entity. This time, if I'm talking about the query, then query is written with respect to entity class. It is not a plain SQL query. So you will find, sir, mostly both queries are looking okay. I will say yes, both queries are looking okay. But what is the advantage of writing the query with respect to entity? Let's say that if you wanted to port your system on the 3 different database management system, then chances are there that your plain SQL query may fail somewhere. But on the other hand, if you are writing the query with respect to entity, then definitely, ultimately, ORM will generate a native query. So don't you think that this is actually comparatively a more portable solution? Submit your opinion, please. Yes, it is. So the thing is that, again, I'm repeating, once again, I'm repeating. Two queries I have written in front of you. If I'm talking about the query number 01, where we are writing select star from student. The select star from student is a simple query that I have written that you can say that, sir, it is going to run on a specific database, maybe MySQL, maybe Oracle. This is one example I have taken. As we have already seen, the problem with the plain SQL query is that they may be specific to database. On your 2 database, they are working. On the 3rd database, they may not work. On the 3 database, they are working. On the 4th database, they may not work. Getting my point? What can be the problem with the query number 01? Look at the second number query. Into the second number query, this student is not a table name, but this student is a entity class name. So this time, practically, I am writing the query with respect to entity. And definitely, you cannot provide this query to database management system. So ORM has to generate a native query, or ORM has to generate the database specific query for this line. Getting my point? So this time, let's say if you are writing the query using entity classes, and right now today you are using MySQL, tomorrow you are going to use Oracle, then you are going to use Postgre, then definitely ORM will manage everything for you. You do not have to make changes. Yes or no? Yes, it is. So this is what actually advantage it is giving you. If you wanted to write down some custom queries, if you wanted to write down some specific query, then write down the query with respect to entity class. Do not write down query with respect to table name directly. Clear it is? We will cover this topic in the detail on the day 3 also, on the Tuesday also. But overall, everyone, the point is, I hope clear to you that writing the query with respect to entity is always a beneficial solution, because here ORM software will generate the specific query. So support for JPQL, that totally depends on object. And the second query that I have written here, it is JPQL statement. The query that you are writing with respect to entity, this is called JPQL, Java Persistence Query Language. This is Java Persistence Query Language. So you are writing query in the terms of Java, not in the terms of SQL. This is a simple one you can understand. This is a simple one you can understand. You are writing query in the terms of Java object, not in the terms of SQL specific format. Finally, everybody, the thing is that note, in SQL, we write the query in the terms of tables and columns, whereas in JPQL, we write query in the terms of classes and variable. Clear? The last line. Understood it is? So definitely, I think you are excited about the ORM. Yes or no? Yes, it is. That's good. That's good. That's good. So there is one thing available, ORM. there is one thing available JPA, and there is one thing available that is called Hibernate. Let me tell you that how they are connected. So everyone, if I'm talking about the JDBC, then JDBC is a name whose implementation is provided in java.sql package. Remember, whose prototype, you can say whose structure is provided into the java.sql package, and such that the java.sql package is having multiple implementation. The multiple implementation is in the form of MySQL connector. It can be in the form of Oracle connector. It can be in the form of any other connector, or you can call, let's say that PostgreSQL connector. So multiple implementations are available for java.sql package. Yes or no? So again, everybody listen. ORM is available there for the ORM, or you can say that implementation, or you can say that specification of the ORM is provided in JPA, such that JPA actually stands for Java Persistence API. JPA stands for Java Persistence API. So like java.sql package does not have implementation. Java.sql package contains interfaces only. Similarly, if I'm talking about the JPA does not contain implementation, but it is containing specification only. It is containing interfaces only. And if I'm talking about its implementation, then lot of implementations are available here. One implementation that we are going to cover is Hibernate. One implementation is available that is called Hibernate. One implementation is called Toplink. One implementation is available that is called Eclipse Link. So from this thing, what is ORM, what is JPA, and what is Hibernate? I hope this is clear to you. So clear, everybody? ORM actually says that I wanted to establish the relationship between database and the table. And ORM is not a specific Java term. ORM is available in Python also. ORM is available in React also. ORM is available in PHP also. So ORM is not a specific term. ORM actually is a common standard whenever you are talking about communication or the relationship between classes and the tables, then you have to use the term ORM. Getting my point? Object relational mapping. Object is something that is for classes. Relation is something that is for table. So it is all about mapping between the table and the classes. Simple one. Yes or no? Specifically, when we are talking about Java programming, then we have to talk about JPA. What is JPA, sir? JPA is a set of interfaces that actually contain all the methods that are required in this mapping. But it is containing interfaces only. There is no implementation available. For the implementation, various different frameworks are available. One framework is Hibernate, one is Hibernate, one is Toplink, one is Eclipse Link, and what we are going to use? Hibernate. Clear it is? So now clear what is ORM, what is JPA, and what is Hibernate? Yes, so simple you will say that ORM is a way to establish the relationship between table and classes. JPA is a Java specific ORM specification. JPA is a Java specific ORM specification, and Hibernate, Hibernate, Toplink, Eclipse Link, they are the implementation of JPA specification. So now what is the advantage here? Again, you will say, sir, for example, let's say that I am currently using Hibernate, but I wanted to migrate to Eclipse Link. So if I'm using the JPA, then don't you think that if the underlying framework is getting changed, still no problem? Yes or no? Isn't it something same as java.sql package? If you are using java.sql package, then if you are changing MySQL connector to Oracle connector, still there is no problem. But in the previous case, you might have to take care about the query. In the ORM, you do not have to take care about the query. So ORM actually giving you more portable solution also. Yes or no? Good one. Okay, that's great. That's great. That's great. So Java Persistence API. Java Persistence API is a standard API using which we can work on any kind of ORM software. Hibernate is one of the most popular ORM. Other implementations are Toplink, Hibernate, etc. JPA is an open specification given by Oracle Corporation to develop any ORM framework. And here, everybody, let me tell you one interesting thing. Actually, yes, ORM actually uses C. Every ORM internally uses JDBC to connect to database. Every ORM software internally uses JDBC to connect to database. And here, everybody, one interesting point. By looking at this line, it's a reasonable assumption that sir initially JPA was available, then Hibernate implementation was created. Yes or no? Definitely, it is reasonable to assume that sir first JPA specification was there, then Hibernate implementation was there. Unfortunately, the situation is flipped. JPA specification was released later, but ORM was already created many years ago. Isn't it strange? Yes, it is. So please take care about one thing. ORM is older than the JPA specification. So if you are going to search on internet about the Hibernate tutorial, may be possible that lot of tutorials are available that does not uses JPA. They are using native library of the Hibernate. You will find session factory there. But the drawback is that if you are writing the code purely into the Hibernate, and in future, if you wanted to change the ORM framework, then again, you have to make lot of changes in the code. Yes or no? Yes, it is. So please take care, attend the classes very, very carefully on the internet. Comparatively limited resources there, or more resources available according to Hibernate specification, but not according to JPA specification. Clear, everyone? Now let me talk about the next part. Okay, so everyone, I think you might come across this thing. One thing is called Java X, and one more thing is available that is called Jakarta X. Have you seen this problem ever? Somewhere tutorial you will find Java X, somewhere you will find Jakarta X. That's good. If you have not listened, then this is well and good. If you have not listened, then this is well and good. But let me explain you what is the case here. The case here is, everybody, if I'm talking about Java, then we know it very well that Java was actually developed by Sun Microsystem. We know it very well that Java was developed by Sun Microsystem. Thereafter, what happened? If I'm talking about the year 2010, then in the 2010, Sun Microsystem was actually taken over by one of the biggest company of this planet, that is Oracle Corporation. Oracle Corporation has all the rights of Java. Oracle Corporation has right to use word Java. Or you can say that Java word is a copyright, such that the copyright is completely protected for Oracle Corporation, or Oracle Corporation is having ownership of the word Java. In the legal language, we can say, simple language. But now what happened? In year 2017, actually Oracle, you can say that surrender, or you can say that Oracle actually provides some open source softwares to Apache Foundation. And Apache Foundation is also a very big open source community. It has developed very, very splendid products. For example, if I'm talking about Apache Tomcat, it is the product of it. If I'm talking about Apache Commons there, it is the product of it. If I'm talking about the web server of PHP, it is provided by him. So this is very great community that is providing exceptional software. But in 2017, when Oracle provide JPA specification to this, when Oracle provides servlet specification to this, everything was okay. But one problem was there. Who is going to use the word Java? Oracle says we are having copyright. We cannot provide you Java word. Apache was saying that Java word is very popular. Everybody is searching with the Java word everything. So how we can release the Java word for you? Getting my point? Why this legal battle was there? Oracle was ready to give all the open source project to Apache, but Oracle was not ready to give the name Java. Getting my point? They wanted to keep the word Java with themselves. Rest everything is available for you. You can take and you can enjoy Apache Foundation. So there was actually, you can say, a lot of crosstalk was there, but ultimately Oracle was not ready to give up the name Java. So they did one thing. All the advanced Java related classes, earlier they were part of Java X. But the problem is that Apache Foundation is not allowed to use the Java X word. So instead of Java X, they come up with a new name, and this new name is called Jakarta X. Getting my point? How Java X become Jakarta X? This is what complete legal battle was there. That's why actually all that mix-up takes place. So for example, let's say that if I am talking about the Tomcat version 9.0, then in the Tomcat version 9.0, everything is available in Java X. Then it comes to the Tomcat version 10.0. In the Tomcat version 10.0, there is nothing like Java X. Everything is with the name Jakarta X. Similarly, if I'm talking about the JPA specification, in the JPA specification in the earlier version, you have to use Java X. But specifically, if I'm talking about the JPA version 3.0 that we are covering into our syllabus, there we have to use Jakarta X. Clear, everyone? So you are the new generation developers, you have to use Jakarta X always. But on the internet, you will find a lot of resources that are having Java X. So you can copy paste the code as it is. Just do one thing, find and replace the Java X with the Jakarta X. Your code will work. Getting? This is the one common hack, so never get confused. That's that you are talking about Jakarta X, somewhere Java X is written there. So it is all about migration issue or business related issues. We do not have too much to do with this. Just copy the code. Java X should be replaced with the Jakarta X. You are done. Java X should be replaced with the Jakarta X, and then you are done. So here in the PPT, there is one correction available. Instead of Java X, I have to write down Jakarta X. So Java JPA API comes in the form of Jakarta X dot persistence package, but Hibernate API belong to org.hibernate. So by looking at the project package structure, can we say that Hibernate is a different organization that is providing implementation of JPA, very much like com.mysql? Okay. So whenever you are going to write down any JPA application, the JPA application deal with the Java persistence API. The Java persistence API says, see, I am the specification. Definitely everything will be managed by the ORM only. And ORM says that definitely internally I have to use JDBC for all that stuff. But being as a user, you do not have to take care about JDBC anymore. You are completely free. Do not take care about the JDBC because you have to take care of what? You have to deal with the functions of Java persistence API. So internally JDBC is managing everything for you, but definitely your life is very much easy. Yes or no? But definitely your life is very much easy. So there is one file available, configuration file, and there is one more thing available, mapping info using annotation, that I'm going to tell you shortly. Then we are talking about the Pojo. Already we have discussed about Pojo. First line, a Java class that can be compiled without any extra jar file in the class path is known as Pojo class. Same line I had told you, I think. Yes or no? Yes, it is. A Java class that is not implementing or extending technology/framework API related to class is known as Pojo. Overall, both lines are same. You can see that no additional jar file is required. No third-party library should be involved in the Pojo class. Every Java Bean class is a Pojo class, but every Pojo class is not a Bean class because, see, actually, if I'm talking about the strict definition of Bean, then the strict definition of Bean says that serializable interface must be implemented. This is strictest definition that I can say. But normally in Masai as well as in the industry, when we are talking about the Bean, so we used to say one thing, that there should be private variables, there should be getter setter method, there should be constructor. This is what definition we used to refer. If I'm talking about the absolute technical parameter, then this definition is wrong. But it's a, you can say that generally used way of referring to the word Bean. Getting my point? Rules are something, but popularity is something. I hope you are understanding what I wanted to convey you. Strict rule is something else, but popularity is something else. Yeah. If you wanted to go for rules, then implement the serializable interface. In future, if you are serializing or not, it's your choice. It's your choice. So a bean must implement the serializable interface, but no such restriction on Pojo. A bean must have a public no argument constructor, but no such restriction on Pojo. Similar to Pojo class, plain old Java interface is also available. This interface does not extend any technology specific interfaces. So something about the Pojo we have already discussed. And see, I'm opening some content of the day number 13 also, because for the example, I have to cover this thing. After Pojo, now I'm talking about entity classes. After Pojo, now I'm talking about the entity classes. So see, an entity class or DB persistence class is a Java class for developing corresponding a table of DB. Second number point, this class has many instance variables this class has as many instance variable should be there, same as number of columns in the corresponding table. We should take the entity class as a Pojo class, but it must have a no argument constructor and it must use @ID annotation to denote the primary key field. Next point, we have to provide the mapping information with the table using XML file or using the annotations. So this time we are going to use annotation. So let me come back to the situation. The situation is that everyone, the situation is here everybody, say simple. If I'm talking about this class, so right now definitely this class is looking like a Pojo class, yes or no? Right now this class is looking like a Pojo class. If I wanted to make this class an entity class, then the very first thing that I need to do is what I need to write down @entity annotation, such that the @entity annotation is defined in JPA specification. First pointer clear? To make a Pojo class an entity class, I have to write down @entity annotation. Second one, everybody, primary key is required there, and for the primary key I have to use one more annotation. The annotation is referred as @ID annotation. Getting my point? Whenever you are actually using the ORM, then definitely you must create a primary key. Whenever there is an ORM, then definitely you must create a primary key. This is the one option that is available for you. So right now, @entity @ID, do they are part of core Java specification? No, definitely they are the part of JPA specification, and JPA specification is an external library. So because the JPA specification is an external library, so can I say this is not a Pojo class, but this is an entity class? Yes or no? So, simple everybody. Entity class is created here. Once again, come back. Let me go for the split screen. It will help you. Let me go for the, oh, I cannot go split screen here because it is full screen. Slideshow is available there. The entity class or persistence class is a Java class that is developed corresponding to a table of database. So first of all, everybody, table is available here. Entity class is available here. Can you spot the relationship very, very clearly among them? Yes or no? Or can I say that student class is actually created corresponding to the student table in the database? Make sense? Refer to second number point. The class has as many instance variable as many number of columns in the corresponding table. So please come back. How many variables are there in the class, or how many instance variables are there in the class? 3. 3 instance variables are available in the class. And how many columns are available in the table? 3. Second point is also justified. Take a look at the third point. We should actually take entity class as Pozo class, but it must have no argument constructor and use @ID annotation to denote the primary key or column. So right now, everyone, @ID is provided on the roll number, and definitely according to definition, I have to provide a default constructor also. Now clear, third point also justified? Yes, it is. Take a look at the fourth point. We need to provide the mapping information with the table using XML file or using the annotation. Using the annotation. So if I'm talking about the mapping XML file, we are not talking about in our syllabus. So we are talking about the annotation. Can you see that @entity annotation is specifically written on the class? Because once a class is having @entity annotation, then only ORM will find, okay, I have to map this class to the database table. So mapping information this time we are providing using @entity. Getting my point? The @entity annotation is actually used by the ORM to find to which class it has to provide the mapping. This is the point that is available here. So this part is also done. Then see. An ORM engine is a specialized software written in Java that performs translation of JPA call into SQL call by using the mapping annotation and configure file details and send the mapped SQL to database software using JDBC. The ORM engine is provided by any ORM software. So can I say that whatever magic we are talking about, all the magic is internally done by the ORM engine? Yes or no? So simple thing. Simple thing. You can think of ORM engine very much like Hanumanji of the Ramayana. He is doing everything. So ORM engine is responsible for doing every job for you. So okay, sir, a lot of discussion is done. It will be good to jump on an example, and we should learn that how to connect to a database management, how to connect to, or how to connect a ORM application via database, how to perform the save operation, insert operation, update operation, delete operation. It will be something that is very much meaningful for you. Make sense, everybody? Shall I proceed to example? Shall I proceed to example? After break? Shall I proceed to example after break? Note the time. This time it is of 6 minutes. Everyone, welcome after the break. Everybody available? Write one on the chat. Those who are available in the session. Hurry up, write one on the chat. Those who are in the session. I'm having counting on my side approximately 61 scholars, but I assume only just 20 to 21st. This time better. This time better. Okay. So JPA configuration. And this time I'm going to tell you that how to connect a Java application, how to connect a ORM application to the database. JPA configuration file. See, when I wanted to connect a simple JDBC application to the database, then to store the credential, I created a properties file. Remember? I think yes. This time, in case of ORM, no need to create any properties file, but this time we will create an XML file. This time we will create an XML file. So I am writing few of the steps that will be helpful for you. So if you wanted to connect the ORM application to the Java, to the database, then step number 1, definitely no need to create a properties file, but we need to create a XML file. And everyone, yesterday, when we were talking about the location of the property file, then I think you remember that the location of the properties file is, you have to go to the SRC. Within the SRC, you have to go to the main. Within the main, then you have to talk about the resources. And within the resources, you have to put your file, that is dbdetails.properties file. Yes or no? Yes, it is. But on the other hand, if I'm talking about the location of the XML file is, then the location of the XML file is almost same, but with one difference. Within the resources, you have to create one more folder. The name of the folder is called meta inf folder. And within the meta inf folder, you need to put this XML file such that name of the XML file will be persistence.xml. Name is fix. Getting my point? This is standard. This is standard. So difference is that properties file reside into the resources folder and it can have any name. But on the other hand, if I'm talking about the XML file, then for the XML file within the resources folder, you have to create the meta inf. Within the meta inf, persistence.xml is the name of the file that you have to create. Getting my point? Now second question arises that, sir, how to actually get the content of this file. Anybody who knows name of anybody who know how to write down the XML? Anybody here who knows how to write down the XML? No, that's good. If you don't know, then this is not required. If you don't know, this is not required. Copy the content of persistence.xml from internet, actually from any website, and then make only required changes. This is the next thing that actually you have to do. Next thing. Actually, what information you need to specify here? Definitely here you need to specify the name of the driver class. Then you have to specify the URL. You have to specify the username. You have to specify the password. These are the few things that actually you need to do. Getting my point? So like in the properties file, you were writing some configuration. Similarly, you just need to change some configuration within the existing persistence.xml file, and you can take the content of persistence.xml file from any website that is available on internet. No need to remember anything. Okay. One thing is done. Shall we take an example? I think it will be good for you in parallel to see the example. Okay. So let me come to Mr. and respectable STS. See everyone, please create Maven project and see. One interesting doubt recently I received. I am directly answering this doubt. If I'm talking about the Maven, question number 1, is Maven an ORM software? No. So Maven is a build tool that is responsible for actually generating some code, then compiling, then interpreting, then testing, then doing at this and packaging, etc. So simply can I say that Maven is a build tool that is responsible for, you can say that all the phases of the project, as well as it is managing dependencies for you. Yes or no? Yes, it is. But on the other hand, when I'm talking about the ORM, then ORM is actually responsible for your database part of your application. Yes, it is. So if I'm talking about the comparison of Maven and ORM, then isn't it very much like comparing an apple to a table? Yes, it is. So these things are completely different. So I'm going to create, going to the file option, new, other. Then I'm talking about the project. Name of the project is Maven project. In this Maven project, definitely directly clicking on next. And here I have to write down org.apache.maven.archetype. Among the all available archetype, I have to select Maven archetype. Quick start version is 1.4. For a very long time period, it is 1.4. So let it be as it is. Then click on the next. Group ID is going to be com.masai school. Then I am talking about the example. The example is going to be first ORM project. First ORM project. Snapshot, let it be as it is. Package name, let it be as it is. Thereafter, this option, if you untick, then there is no problem. Directly click on finish. It is downloading the sum of the files, and after downloading some of the files, standing POM, generating. Let it generate something, nothing to display on the console. So first Maven project is available there. Now we need to open the pom.xml file, and after opening the pom.xml file, we have to change the version. Version is 17. Oh, I think I have opened yesterday's content. That's why I'm finding what happened suddenly. So I'm going to first ORM project. Into the first ORM project, going to the pom.xml. First of all, it will be good to change the Java version. It is 17, something minimum version you can select. Second thing, everyone, JUnit dependency is not required. So definitely I am not talking about the JUnit dependency here. But because I wanted to connect to the database, so whenever I wanted to connect to database, so better to download the MySQL dependency. Yes or no? Better to copy the MySQL dependency. So I have copied the MySQL dependency here. Comfortable? Then everyone, Dependency is there, group ID is there, artifact ID is there, version is also there. The next pointer that I wanted to do is, actually I need to download one more dependency, and this dependency is actually related to Hibernate dependency. This dependency is related to Hibernate dependency. So let me go to the Google, or directly I can go to the website, that is MVN repository. After going to MVN repository, then I am talking about the dependency. The dependency is Hibernate, or this is called Hibernate core dependency. This is called Hibernate or Hibernate core dependency. So I am on the Hibernate core dependency, and thereafter, let's say that I am talking about this version. Then I'm copying this part, and after copying this part, then directly I am pasting the same code here. So this is one more dependency that actually I have added. Clear, everybody? How to do this job? Two dependencies you have to add. The very first dependency that you wanted to add is MySQL dependency, and second dependency that you have to add is the Hibernate core dependency you have to add. Two additions are done. Thereafter, definitely it will be good to update the project. And to update the project, we are doing the right click. Thereafter, there is a Maven available. Within the Maven update project option available, click on force update, then click on OK. So once we have clicked on OK, then check the Maven dependencies. Into the Maven dependencies, everyone, can you see MySQL connector jar is there? Yes or no? Apart from that, can you see that Hibernate core dependency is there? And other whatever be the dependencies of the dependencies are there, they are automatically downloaded into your system. This time, can I say that MySQL connector jar file is taken from the local repository? Because yesterday I have reused same dependency in the yesterday's project. So this is available in local repository. So it is taken from local repository. But Hibernate repository, I am using it for the first time on this laptop. So this time it is taken from the central. In future, it will be also taken from the local repository. Clear? Maven, local repository, central repository, so on, so on. That's good. That's good. Thereafter, everyone, within the SRC, main folder is available because I wanted to create the database connection. So to create the database connection, I have to create an XML file. And for the XML file, I have to create the resources folder. Within the resources folder, I have to create the meta INF folder. Then within the meta INF folder, you have to create persistence.xml. So it will be good to create folder first. I'm coming here, src main control n, going to create a folder, and name of the folder that I'm writing is resources folder. Then within this resources folder, I am going to talk about one more folder. The name of the folder is called meta inf folder. Okay, then within the meta inf folder, I have to create one file. So I have to create an XML file, XML or simple file. We will save the name. The name of this file is going to be persistence.xml. Name of this file is going to be persistence.xml, and then clicking on finish. So persistent.xml. So first of all, everybody, location is clear for everyone. Okay. Simple, you need to create a file and give the extension .xml. If you wanted to create a XML file directly, there is no way to create the XML file. You have to create a simple file and directly the name persistence.xml. Automatically, it will take the extension. Getting my point? Clear? Yes, it is. That's good. Just a second, everyone. Okay. So persistence.xml is done. Content of the persistence.xml you can take from any file. Persistence.xml file in JPA. Lot of different websites are available. Let me talk about the first resource. It is Thorben Jensen, very good resource for studying about the Hibernate JPA. And everyone, then directly I'm going to take some content. First of all, everyone, you can see that if I'm talking about the root tag, then the root tag for this file is persistence tag. The root tag for this file is persistence tag. And can you see that I'm talking about the 3.0? Can you see that I'm talking about the JPA version 3.0 here? Yes or no? Yes, it is. First thing I have taken. Thereafter, everybody within the persistence tag, there is one thing available that is called persistence unit. Within the persistence unit, here actually you can say you have to write down any name that represent your database connection. Here you have to write down a name that actually represent your database connection. So for example, let's say that I am giving name of the connection that is student connect. You can give any name. You can give any name, but this name I am going to use later on in the Java code to connect to the database. Getting my point? The unit name will be used to connect to database in Java code. So actually everyone, this part is done. Thereafter, I am talking about some more areas. Thereafter, I'm talking about some more areas. Lot of descriptions are there, but I'm going to use only what is required. I'm going to use only what is required, not everything I'm going to use here. Then in the data, as you can see that, can you see the 3 lines? Oh, not this one, not this one, not this one, these 4 lines. These 4 lines are useful for me. Within the persistence unit, I have to use these 4 lines. And see everybody, for your assignments, you can directly copy my persistence.xml file. No problem. You can directly use my persistence.xml. You can use my persistence.xml file. First property, jakarta.persistence.jdbc.driver. So if I'm talking about the name of the driver class, then isn't it going to be com.mysql.cj.jdbc.driver? Yes or no? com.mysql.cj.jdbc.driver. This is going to be my name. If I'm talking about the URL, then definitely the URL is going to be jdbc mysql localhost 3306 /. Then we have to talk about name of the database. So initially, let us create a new database here. So for example, I'm writing new database. The name of the database I'm writing is first ORM project semicolon. I wanted to use the same database, no problem. Now I am using the same database. Initially, if I'm talking about the show tables, then definitely tables are empty. Tables are empty. Initially, everybody, just for the sake of keeping the example simple, I am going to create a table here such that the table is containing just same 3 information. So I'm creating one table. Name of the table that I'm writing is student. Name of the table that I'm writing is student. Into the student table, the first thing I'm writing is roll, that is roll number, or you can write down the roll number also. There is no problem. It's integer, and then you have to mention it a primary key. The next thing we are writing is the name. Let's say that I'm writing here varchar size. You can write down any 20, 25, no problem. Thereafter, I'm talking about the third part. The third part, let's say I'm writing is marks. For the marks, again, data type I'm writing is integer. Thereafter, I'm writing DESC student semicolon. And after writing DESC student semicolon, initially, definitely the table is empty. So table is created here manually. Then I will show you how to create table using the Hibernate also. I will show you this thing, don't worry. How to create a table using Hibernate also, I will show you this thing. So first of all, everybody, the very first information is all about the driver information. The second information is all about the URL. Then the third information is about the username. So in my case, username is root. Fourth information is about the password. In my case, the password is root. Getting my point? How to set up the XML file. These are the 4 information that compulsory you have to provide, and later on you don't have to take care, you don't have to worry, because this file you have to reuse in your projects. Getting my point? These files you have to use into your project. And there is only one thing that I forgot to add. This is XML header tag. I forgot to add XML header tag. Somewhat XML header tag, XML header tag, XML question mark. Yes, this one. Only this tag. So this tag is required to add because this is XML header tag. So this information I have added. So first of all, where to write down the database related information? I hope this is clear. Take a look at the structure very, very carefully and take a look here. Yes or no? Comfortable? Comfortable. That's good. So same thing is provided here. How to connect to the ORM application? First of all, no need to create property file. Normally property file is created into the resources folder, but XML file is going to be created into the resources slash meta inf slash persistence resources slash meta inf folder. Name is fixed persistent.xml. You need to go copy content from internet or from any website oblique existing project in your PC, and then you only need to make changes into the required changes like driver class name, username, password, URL, etc., etc. Some more information you can add also. First part is done. XML file you have written, no problem. Now shall I take an example of connecting to database? Okay, so we are available into the file. The name of the file is called app test. This is containing error because I have removed the JUnit dependency. So let me make it empty, 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 and again empty. Done. Let me close this one. Going to app.xml. So now next thing is all about how to connect to the database. If you wanted to connect to database, then I have to introduce you with some of the respectable members, but take a look at the PPT first. Java JPA configuration file. It is an XML file. Its name is persistence.xml. The file content will be used by ORM software to locate the destination DB software. The file content will be used by ORM software to locate the destination database software. The file must be created within the src/meta-inf folder in normal Java application. But in case of Maven or Gradle based application, the file should be within the src/main/resources/meta-inf folder. Got it? Thereafter, everybody, in this file, generally, 2 types of details we can specify. The first thing we specify is the database connection detail that we have already specified. Second type of detail you can specify is the ORM specific detail, some specific instruction if you wanted to give to your ORM. We will take example of this thing also. Then you can see at the note, generally we take this file one per database basis. Take this file from the sample application or from Hibernate docs and modify it accordingly. Modify it accordingly. And there is one special facility available. As you can see that if I'm talking about this persistence.xml file, then this one persistence unit is talking about connecting to one database. Yes or no? The one persistence unit is talking about connecting to one database. So let's say that if I wanted to connect to 4 different databases, then I can define 4 different persistence units. Getting my point? Such that they should have different names. And in the Java code, now I am having choice. I can connect to any specific database of my choice. So isn't it more flexible when you wanted to communicate with multiple databases? Yes or no? Simple logic. Yes, it is more flexible. Like if I'm talking about your course platform, if I'm talking about your metabase, etc. I don't think you are having access to metabase. In the metabase, we are dealing with 12 to 15 databases. So such kind of frameworks are lifesaver there. Otherwise, in JDBC, it is not possible to complete the projects within the time. Now, so take this file from the sample application or from the Hibernate docs, modify accordingly. Okay, sir, XML file is done. Now what to write down into the Java code? If you wanted to write down something into the Java code, everyone, then you have to first of all be aware about an interface. The name of the interface is called jakarta.persistence.persistence interface, such that name of the interface is it is interface or class. Let me check. Just a second. Let me check. PERSIS persistence in JPA. Let me go to the official documentation. Let me go to the official documentation, or better to write down jakarta.persistence.persistence. So let me jump to official documentation. Yes. This is Java EE. This is Jakarta persistence 3.0. And into the Jakarta persistence 3.0, I'm looking for official documentation directly. I'm looking for official documentation directly, but 1 second. Jakarta.persistence.persistence class in JPA. Let me try to this. Is it class on the IntelliJ? Then there is Jakarta.persistence. It is opening the same page actually. It is opening the same page actually. We are talking about entity class, but I have to discuss about the persistence class. Available, well. I'm not finding the official documentation. Jakarta JPA documentation. Jakarta JPA documentation. I was looking for, now I'm on correct site finally. Java x.persistence, and actually then I have to go for directly persistence only. Since persistence is a class, sorry. Persistence is a class, and this is according to specification 2.2. If I'm going to open the same document for specification, that is 3.0, but it is not supporting this page. I will share the URL to you because I'm having on my other laptop. All these URLs are already saved. But overall, everybody, if I'm talking about persistence, persistence is a class available. If I'm talking about the persistence class, then can you see that all the methods are static method? In the persistence class, can you see that all the methods are static method? Yes or no? Yes, it is. And if all the methods are static, then can I call it simple utility class? Yes or no? Logic? Can I call it a simple utility class? Yes, you can call it a simple utility class. The very first thing that you have to do is you need to take a entity manager factory. From the persistence class, you have to call the method. The name of the method is called entity manager factory. So see what exactly I'm going to do. For example, initially taking very, very basic cases. I am on STS. What happened STS? I am on STS. I am into the app.java. I am writing steps to connect to database. I am writing steps to connect to database. Step number 1. You need to get entity factory manager using the persistence class. Using the persistence class. So I'm writing here persistence. Can you see name of the package? Jakarta.persistence. Can you see name of the package? Jakarta.persistence. There is directly one method available. The name of the method is called create entity manager factory. Within the entity manager factory, you have to pass the persistence unit name. And this persistence unit name is nothing but you have written the name here. Getting my point? The persistence unit name that you have provided in the XML file, the same name you have to use here. First point is clear. Everybody, first step is clear. And what exactly it is going to return you? It is going to provide you a entity factory manager. So I am writing entity factory manager EMF equal to persistence.create entity factory manager. This is the step number 1. Now let me talk about the step number 2 also. When I'm talking about the step number 2, then you can see that actually, sir, entity factory manager is something you are talking about. And if I'm talking about entity manager factory, then this is a interface only. In this interface, if I'm talking about the methods, then you can see that lot of methods are available. Add named entity graph, add named query, etc. But the thing that is useful for me is create entity manager. The thing that is useful for me is create entity manager. The second thing that I have to do is I have to create an entity manager from the same. This is the second thing that actually we have to do. This point is also clear, everyone? Step number 2. You need to get the object of entity manager by calling the create entity manager. So get entity manager object by calling the create entity manager method. Okay, so I'm writing here EMF dot. You can say that there is first method available. The name of the first method is called create entity manager, and definitely this create entity manager is going to provide you somewhat like this. Okay, this part is also done. This part is also done. Using the entity manager, if you wanted to close the connection, then definitely you can close the entity manager also. It is very much like con.close equivalent you can initially assume. Is that clear, everybody? How to connect your JPA application to the database. How to connect your JPA application to the database. Okay, I'm going to do one minor experiment in front of you. The experiment is that let's say that I'm inserting one record here. The record is insert into student. Then I wanted to insert some values. Roll number, let's say I'm writing 1. Name, let's say I'm writing ABC. And marks, for example, let's say I'm writing 45. See, everyone, if I am able to get detail about record number 1 here, then definitely it will be automatically verified whether the connection is successful or not. Yes or no? Definitely. That's good. So here, there is one method available. The name of the method is called actually find method. Into the find method, the first thing that I have to specify is the name of the entity class. Actually, I have not created entity class. I have not created entity class. Then I have to specify the primary key. So let me create an entity class first. Control N, class. Name of the class I am writing is student. Into the student class, first annotation I have to use is @entity. Then I have to use @ID annotation. Into the ID annotation, then I have to talk about private integer ID. After private integer ID, then I'm talking about private string name. After private string name, then I'm talking about private integer marks. Because this is an entity class, so definitely I have to create a default constructor also. So I'm generating a default constructor here. Then if you wanted to generate the parameterized constructor, then definitely you can generate the parameterized constructor also. Then we are talking about the getter and setter methods. Getter setter methods are also generated for all. Is that okay, everyone? Entity class is clear. Same example I have copied pasted. First of all, you have to apply @entity annotation. You have to write down @ID annotation. You have to specify a default constructor. Anything else that you wanted to do additionally, you can specify here, no problem. Anything else that you wanted to do here, you can specify here, no problem, no problem, no problem. Okay. So student class is here, and definitely this is going to provide me an object of student. Yes, it is, because this is going to provide me an object of the student. So here, first thing I wanted to print is roll number. So can I call student dot it was my mistake. I'm using column name role there. I'm using column name role there. That's why it's my mistake. So get role is perfect. Thereafter, it's name. So definitely I'm talking about the name also. And after the name, then I'm talking about the next thing that is called marks. And I'm writing here, this is going to be student dot marks also. Shall I try to run this application? Right click, run as Java application. And there is some exception. Let me check what exactly mistake is there. what exactly mistake is there. Exception in thread main Jakarta dot lang dot persistence exception. It says that unable to locate the persistence unit. The underlying exception is available here. It says that invalid persistence dot XML exama schema location is not allowed to appear in the persistence. There is some problem that we have done with the header part. Some problem is there in this header part. That's why this problem is here. Let me use this part, everyone. So once let me check. Version I'm using 3.0. Yes, I have used the version 3.0. Persistent XML namespace http jakarta.ee.xml and is persistence. The rest is everything okay. 2001 XML is okay. Version is also okay. This part is also okay. XML header tag is also okay. Actually, in this line, it is creating problem. In this line, it is creating problem that we have copied. Let me see the output once again. Caused by Jakarta.persistence.persistent exception error parsing XML file attribute xsi, schema location. I think L is required to be in the capital letter. I think because such kind of error I have already faced earlier. Still problem is there. And what it is saying, this time previous problem is solved. Error in parsing line number 1 CVC complex type invalid content was found starting with curly braces. Invalid content was found starting with curly braces. One of Jakarta dot description. Invalid content found. Jakarta dot ee.xml namespace / property properties. It is XML namespace https jakarta.ee/xml/ namespace / persistence. This header is only thing that is creating problem. Rest everything is all fine. Persistence XML namespace. 1 second. Let me do one thing. Sample persistence dot XML file. Might be that if there is even a minor spelling mistake, still it will be problematic. If there is a simple spelling mistake, still let me use the version 2.01. No problem. Oh, lot of links are there. Let me use the version 2.1. Control C, coming here, and Control V. Exact signature I will provide you. I'm having saved in my another laptop. I will provide you exact signature, don't worry. So once now let me try to run this. Run as Java application. Invalid content was found with element. Persistence version equal to 2.1 XML namespace. Sample persistence.xml file for version 3.0. This is having version 2.1. Project structure is there. Persistence units, order marks, mapping, transaction mapping. Eclipse persistence file, persistence XML namespace. Which version it is using? It is for 1.0. One second, everyone. Actually, due to header only, we are facing problem. Rest everything is fine. Rest everything is fine. Let me try this. Let me try this. Right click, run as Java application. Still problematic. Anyone? You can also What is going wrong? Why actually this header portion is not available for us? Persistence header tag XML version 1.0. XML. Anywhere else I'm facing the 3.0 version. One scholar has provided the suggestion from ChatGPT. Let us try this. One scholar has provided the solution from ChatGPT. Let us try this. No luck. No luck. Uh-oh, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Here what I name, okay, spelling is incorrect on both sides. Then this is not the issue. Spelling is incorrect on the both side. Then actually no issue. Persistence.xml, Jakarta EE, any persistence. So we have to write down persistent XML namespace Jakarta EE. Then we are writing version 3.0 schema location. Schema location spelling is also correct. Schema location spelling is also correct. Anything else that otherwise I have to finally cross check from my other laptop what spelling is wrong. Otherwise I have to check that what spelling is wrong. Third attempt. Third attempt. Persistence XML Jakarta E 2000 schema location going to app.xml. One more thing that I can do is let me go to the clean project option. If there is any previous class file available, then it will be deleted. Then right click, run as Java application. Exception in thread main java.ling unable to locate persistence unit. Let me check again. At org homework, get it down, then at org dot this one. Jakarta persistence create entity factory line number 80. Jakarta factory versus entity manager line number 55. App line number 15. Here line number 15. Okay. Then what it is saying? Caused by Jakarta.invalid persistence.xml file. Invalid persistence.xml file. Error parsing XML line number -1 column 1 CVC complex type 2.4.a invalid content was found starting with this URL https jakarta.ee/xml-ns:property. Same error we were facing in all the three cases. One of https Jakarta EE description HTTP instance. Let me once actually copy this content. Let me once copy this content on Google. What exactly things got wrong? My God. Persistent XML not configured correctly. Order of element inside person should go after the provider. But this is not the case with us. This is not the case with us. Let me check again once. Persistence.xml. First of all, everyone, one by one, if we are checking the location, SRC, yes. Within the SRC, main, yes. Within the main resources, yes. Meta INF, yes. Persistence, spelling is also okay. PERSISTENCE. Persistence.xml. Then persistence XML namespace HTTPS. XSI location XML namespace. What went wrong? Let me check from my one sequence. Persistence tag is there. XML namespace is there. HTTPS jakarta.ee/xml/namespace/persistence. Perfect. XML namespace :XSI equal to http://w3.org/2001/xml schema instance. Perfect. Thereafter, it's in my laptop. I have specified the version first. Then I'm using XSI schema location. XSI : schema location. L is available in the capital letter. https://jakarta.ee/xml/namespace/persistence space. https jakarta.ee/xml/ns/persistence 3.0 xsd. This is also perfect. This is also perfect. Then we are using persistence unit. Into the persistence unit, there is one thing. Just a minute. I think one thing that I copied maybe mistakenly. One thing that I copied mistakenly here. Actually, I need to use one more tag. The name of the tag is called properties tag. The name of the tag is called properties tag. This is one tag that actually I did not copy it from there. Just a second, everyone. Going to app, right click, run as Java application. Finally, it is done. Finally, it is done. And can you see the output here? Well, minor mistakes and major setbacks. Shall I actually once again summarize? Forget this red color. Forget this red color. But first of all, everybody, output is available. Shall I now summarize once again what actually we have to do? Yes, it will be good. Approximately 5 to 10 minutes were already wasted unnecessarily, but okay, all that is part of life. Sometime it happen. Sometime it happen. So first of all, everyone see what I was telling you. This property file will already be provided to you. Don't worry. Let me come to the notepad and connect to ORM application. See, okay, this part is done. Copy the content, etc., etc. This is done. Step number 1 into the Java code. What you need to do? Definitely, after creating this file, the step number 1 is that you need to get the entity manager using the persistence class. If you wanted to get the entity manager using persistence class, then this is a fixed line of code you need to write down. And here you need to write down specifically the same persistence unit name that you have mentioned in the XML file. Getting my point? Everyone, is that clear? That you have to write down the name of the persistence unit, the same name that you have actually mentioned into your XML file. In the XML file, you can see that name is the student connect. And here also you can see that in the file app.java, I have mentioned the name student connect. First point clear? First step clear? Yes, it is. Then I'm talking about the step number 2, because ultimately whatever query you wanted to fire the query, you have to use the entity manager. And how to get the entity manager? To get the entity manager using the entity manager factory, you need to get the entity manager by calling the create entity manager factory method of entity manager factory. So entity manager factory is already available to you from the previous step, and using this entity manager factory, you have to call the entity manager factory method, and into the once entity manager factory is available to you. Thereafter, everybody do all the DB related operations. And if I'm talking about the DB related operation, then definitely the operation can be using the persist method. The operation can be using the find method. The operation can be using the remove method. So can I say whatever you wanted to do on the database, for this thing you need object of entity manager? Yes or no? Yes, it is. This is what your step number 3 is. Then if I'm talking about the step number 4, then definitely the step number 4 is you need to close the connection also. Step number 4, you need to close the entity manager also. And how to close the entity manager? So definitely to close the entity manager, you have to use this thing. Is that clear, everyone? Yes or no? So this is the only documentation, fixed documentation, that you always have to follow, no matter whether you are using your first project or whether you are doing your 10th project. Getting my point? Whether you are doing your first project or you are doing your 10th project, every time you have to follow these steps. So now everyone, shall we go for the other operations also? Because this is very simple. I will do everything in front of you hardly within the 5 minutes. I'm going for insert operation now. I'm going for insert operation now, and this documentation will also be provided to you. See everyone, if I'm talking about the entity factory manager, then if you want, then you can put this code into the static block also. Yes or no? because we wanted to get it execute only for one time. Yes, it is. You can put the same code into the static block also. So what to do? See here. I'm creating one variable. Name of the variable is static entity manager EF. Then I'm writing the static block, and within the static block, the same code cutting from here, pasting here. Make sense, everyone? Yes or no? Yes, it is. Then if I wanted to make the connection, then I have to call the create entity manager. To close the connection, I have to call this. So for example, let's say I'm creating some method. The first method I'm creating is, let's say the method is print student details. The name of the method that I'm writing is static void print student detail, and I wanted to get the detail printed by roll number. So the same roll number can I pass here? Please check the code. Please check the code. Is that okay? I'm getting the entity manager. After getting the entity manager, the same student is there. Calling the method, this is done. This is done. Now I'm showing you how to add a student. If I wanted to add a student, everyone, then first thing I'm writing is static void. Let's say I'm writing add student. Into the add student, then I'm writing here student object here. Getting my point? This is entity object. This is entity object. So first step, definitely I wanted to get connection. Yes, it is. Last step, definitely I wanted to close connection. Yes, it is. Using the EM, actually one more thing that I need to do is there is one method available. The name of the method is called persist method, and within the persist method, you have to fire this. You have to pass a student object as a parameter. This step clear, everyone? But code is not completed so far. Code is not completed so far. Actually, your ORM says that everything will be in the form of transaction. If you are firing an insert query, update operation or delete operation, then it should be treated as a transaction. And if you wanted to perform them in the form of transaction, then first of all, you can see that there is a method available. The name of the method is called get transaction method. The name of the method is called get transaction method, and the get transaction method is going to provide you an object of entity transaction. Okay, if you wanted to perform DML operation, then for the DML operation transaction is required. Point is clear? Transaction is required for DML operation. DML operation. Transaction is there. Now I wanted to start the transaction. To start the transaction, there is one method available. The name of the method is called begin operation, begin method. And if you wanted to commit the transaction, then one method is available called commit method. Your insert operation is completed. Your insert operation is completed. Shall I do an experiment? Shall we cross check? So everyone, with respect to JDBC, is it easy one or a tough one? With respect to JDBC, is it easy one or is it tough one? Definitely very, very easy. Just you need to write down 3 to 4 lines of code and you are done. So let me do one thing. For example, let's say I am calling here add student and I am creating object of student here. While creating the object of a student, let me write down roll number is 2. Name, for example, I am writing BCD, and percentage, for example, marks I am writing 56. Thereafter, immediately I am calling print student detail. Into the print student detail, roll number I am writing is 2. If everything is successful, then definitely detail about the second student will be printed. Yes or no? Right click, run as Java application. Running the Java application, please take a look at the output. Is the detail getting printed? Yes, it is. So everything working fine. Due to properties error, we have lost over approximately 5 to 10 minutes. And next point, everyone, if I wanted to remove, then definitely to remove, I need to do one thing. Let's say that I wanted to remove a student. If I wanted to remove a student, let's say that I wanted to remove this student by simple roll number. Yes or no? Better to remove this student by roll number. Yes or no? And if you wanted to remove this student by the roll number, so first of all, you have to find a student by the roll number also. Make sense? You have to find the student by roll number also. Makes sense? So first of all, everybody, if you wanted to find out the student by the roll number, then again, you have to use this line. Okay, you have to use this line. Clear, everyone? And when this line is available to you, here actually what I wanted to get the roll number only. When this line is available to you, then here I am getting the student detail. But one thing that I wanted to see you, please see here. Can you see the return type? It find by primary key, searches for the entity specified by the primary key. If the entity is contained in the persistence class, it will be returned. If I'm talking about the return type, if I'm talking about the returned value, then in case of return value, what exactly it is returning? If the entity instance is found, then entity will be returned. If the entity instance is not found, then it is going to return you null. So can I say that if it is returning null, means scholar is not available with the given roll number? Simple logic. So here everyone, you have to check if student equal to null. If student equal to null, then better to put the message that is invalid roll number, and because it is invalid roll number condition is there, then in this condition better to directly return from here. Yes or no? Yes, the class is going to be extended by hardly 5 minutes. Please cooperate. So student is not here, and can I say that you are here means student is there? You are here means actually student is in the database. Yes or no? Yes, it is. If you are here means student is in the database. So you are beginning transaction. This time, instead of persist method, you need to call the remove method. Instead of persist method, you need to call the remove method. What is the behavior? It remove the entity instance, parameter entity instance. What kind of exception it throws? Illegal argument exception if there is no entity. Transaction required exception if you are not performing this operation within the et.begin and et.commit. Clear, everyone? How to remove the student? Yes, it is. So definitely this time. And one more thing. So let's say I am commenting this, and after commenting this time I am calling the remove student. In the remove student, I am firing 2. So what do you think? After deletion, here actually the answer will be null. Yes or no? Yes, it is. Here answer will be null. So this time I should get the invalid roll number, or better to print the message that is no student found. Yes or no? Better to print the message no student found. Make sense? Let me try to run it. Right click, run as Java application. Some red colored information is there. Can you see the message no student found? Means student is deleted from the database. Yes or no? Is that clear? Okay. Now, if I'm talking about the add student, in the add student specifically, I'm talking about the persist method. It make an instance manage and persistence. Parameter is entity. But can you see there is one more type of exception available? The exception is called entity exist exception. Can you see it throws a unchecked exception? The name of the unchecked exception is entity exist exception. And how to check an entity? Definitely, if their ID is same, then they will be considered as same. Yes or no? So if an entity already exists, then you are going to get this kind of exception. Is that clear, everyone? So thrown by the persistence provider is called, and the entity, this floating panels are creating so much disturbance for me. 1 minute. Persistence entity exists. So thrown by the persistence provider when entity manager persist is called with the entity already exists. Or listen, let me give you a very simple way. Let me give you a very simple way. For example, everybody, if a student is being added with the same roll number again, if a student is being added with the same roll number again, what do you think? Will it be allowed? Definitely not. So right now in the database, how many records are available? Only one. Yes or no? Yes, it is. So if I try to student again with the roll number 1, then there should be some error message. Yes, it is. So let us try to do this job. Remove student is verified. Let me talk about the add student. Detail I am writing 1. Rest everything is there. I just wanted to check what exactly output it is showing. Right click, run as Java application. And can you see that there is SQL integrity exception is there. Okay, so initially I'm telling you some easy way. And can you see there is constraint violation exception available? Then there is one more exception that is called rollback exception. There is one more exception available that is called rollback exception. So let me do one thing. For example, let's say that directly I am looking for jakarta.persistence.rollback exception. Directly I'm looking for jakarta.rollback.exception. Can you see that this exception is child of persistence exception? So simple, can I say that if during the persist method, if there is persistence exception, means there is operation is failed? Yes or no? Simple, can I say this thing? Forget about exist entity because for this thing I have to make some additional configuration also. So how to handle this kind of situation? Please take a look here. I am into app.java and then I am writing the calling of persist method within the try catch. Then writing here catch block, and the exception that can be possible here is persistence exception. Is that clear? And in this condition, will it be good to print the message that is unable to add student? Yes or no? Sensible it is. Now let me try to run it again. Right click, run as Java application. And after writing Java application, so, my bad. So better to put this begin and commit within the same block. Again, let me try to run it again. Run as Java application. So this time, clear everyone how to code this? Unable to add student message I am getting without any failure because commit was creating problem at that time. Commit was creating problem at that time. So insert operation is done. Find operation is done. Remove operation is done. Finally, I am going to talk about the last operation, and the last operation is update operation, which is very easy and definitely you will find it funny also. For example, let's say that everybody, I am talking about the update operation, and into the update operation, I wanted to update only marks. Let's say that I wanted to update only marks of the scholar. So roll number is required. Very first thing, I am using the found query. If the scholar is not available, then better to print the message invalid roll number. Yes or no? Getting my point? Initially, if the student with the given roll number doesn't exist, then is it good to print the invalid roll number and return? Make sense? Yes, it is. Second, everybody, second, can you see that we are starting the transaction? After starting the transaction, then just do one thing. Just do one thing. On the same entity, let's say that I am calling the set marks and I am passing the marks here. Your update operation is done. Your update operation is done. Seems mysterious that how this is happening. So listen, initially you have fetched the entity. Yes, entity is fetched. Once you are fetching the entity, then actually your entity and your database, they are in synchronization. Because they are in synchronization, that's why as you are changing the value of marks, automatically the changes will take place into the database also. Getting my point? Everyone getting my point? How this update operation is there? So now just one honest feedback. If you are going to do everything in the JDBC, then I think you may require approximately 1.5 to 2 hours. But if you are comfortable with this example, you have done 1 or 2 assignments, and then I am asking you to do the same job. Can you do the same job within 20 to 30 minutes? Sensible it is? Yes. So this is the beauty of Hibernate is. This is the beauty of Hibernate is. So let me call the update student for the roll number 1. Last time the marks were 45. Let me change the marks to 55 and I'm printing the same detail again. So right click, run as Java application. Let us see what is the output it is showing. Can you see marks are getting updated here? Can you see marks are getting updated here? Yes, it is. This operation also okay? Updated here? Yes or no? Yes. You have to call every method, but overall with respect to JDBC, I think you are finding it very, very easy. Okay. Anybody who is interested to see the queries also that is generated by Hibernate? Anybody who is interested to see the query that is generated by Hibernate? I think everybody is. Eager? That's good. Anybody who wanted to see the create table also? The table should be generated by Hibernate. Just 2 lines I have to add and everything is done. Just 2 lines I have to add and everything is done. So everybody see here, I'm writing here drop table student. I'm writing here drop table student. And then I'm writing here show tables. No table is available in the database. Yes or no? Yes, it is. I want Hibernate to create the table. I wanted to show all the queries also. I wanted to show all the queries also. So see everything I'm going to do in front of you. First of all, I am adding a student. Okay, done. Then I'm printing the detail of the student. Done. Then I wanted to update the student detail also. This is also done. Again, I wanted to show the detail of student also. Finally, I wanted to remove. This sequence is clear. Initially, I am adding one record. Then I am getting data of the record. Then I'm updating the information. Thereafter, printing the updated information. Then finally removing the record. Yes or no? This sequence clear, everybody? Just open the persistence.xml. Into the persistent.xml, just I have to add the two properties. Into the persistence.xml, just I have to add the two properties and then I am done. One property is called HBM2DLL property. One property is called HBM2DLL property. So directly I am going to HBM2DLL property there in persistence.xml. Directly I'm going to copy the code. Directly I'm going to copy the code and it will be done within a second. It will be done within a second. Yeah, same value I have to copy. See, property name equal to hibernate.hbm2ddl.auto value equal to update. What is the mean of value equal to update? This will actually create the tables in database according to entity classes. Is that clear, everybody? This property is clear. Then definitely I'm going to write down this will show all the generated SQL queries. This will show all the SQL queries generated by Hibernate. So there is one more property available. The name of the property is called show underscore SQL property in Hibernate. We have to set the value true only, that's all. We have to set the value true only, that's all. Then we are done. Oh, not into the properties file, not into the properties file. Actually, just a minute. Property name equal to Hibernate dot show underscore SQL, and the value that I need to write down is true. This is what actually I have to mention. Let me cross check if everything is okay or not. Let me check if everything is okay or not. The name of the property is show underscore SQL. Hibernate show underscore SQL. Yes, we have to specify the value either in the terms of true or false. Hibernate show SQL is enabled. Property name Hibernate dot show SQL. Then we are writing the value that is going to be no, but I have to just let me try this. Oh, today your lunch is also getting unnecessarily ruined slightly. Well, everyone, can you see all the queries? Focus on the first one. Create table is clear. It is automatically generating the table for you. Insert is also clear. Select query, etc., etc. I'm going to give you this example. Please go through this example again and again. This is important part of your evaluation. Please go through this. You can leave your meeting later on. You are requested to fill the feedback form positively. This example will be shared to you in few minutes. Okay. Assignment will also be uploaded before 2:30. And extremely sorry for today. Time is slightly, I took longer, 12 to 13 minutes. But unfortunately, properties were something created problem for us. But make sure to go through this content properly. Okay. Bye. Yes, everything is, see, whatever we have covered in this aspirant, everything is part of your evaluation. Whatever we have covered in this aspirant till today's class, everything is part of your evaluation. Make sure to attend IA stand-up also. Make sure to attend IA stand-up also. How many questions will be there? You don't worry about this. Your paper is completely balanced. Paper is setted. It is perfectly you can do within 3 hours, no problem. But you have to cover each and every aspect that we have done in this aspirant. Okay, everyone? Shishir, are you there? No, Shishir is not here. Might be he is having some other schedule. Okay, I will connect to him. Make sure to attend the IE stand-up of today. It will be important. Okay, bye. You can leave the meeting. Later on, you are requested to fill the feedback form positively. This is important.